Hello students, I hope you all are fine and happy. We are reading chapter number 2 is matter around us pure. So in this chapter, in our previous video, we have started the methods of separation that we use to separate the different kinds of mixture. So I told you that the methods that are used for separating the different kinds of mixture, it depends on what type of mixture they are. So we always try to find out some differences between the properties of the mixture on the basis of which we can separate them. In the previous video, we read how can we separate the dye from the blue or the black ink. So we can separate the dye from the blue or the black ink by evaporating it, and we don't evaporate the ink directly, or we don't heat the ink by keeping it directly over the flame. We heat the ink or we evaporate it by using a water bath. So why we use the water bath? Because if we heat the ink directly by keeping it over the flame, so it may get decomposed and we will not get our desired result. The second topic that we read was how can we separate the cream from the milk. Now the cream from the milk is separated by the method of centrifugation. Now in the centrifugation, the mixture is rotated at a very fast speed. Now when the mixture is rotated at a fast speed, so the denser particles, or we can say the heavier particles, they settles down at the bottom, whereas the lighter one, they keeps on floating or they remains above. Now this centrifugation is done with the machine that is known as centrifuge. Now centrifugation is used for those mixtures which can easily pass through the filter paper, means which cannot be separated by using the filter paper. The next topic that we read is how can we separate two immiscible liquids. So in the previous video we read how can we separate a mixture of kerosene and water. So as with two immiscible liquid means the liquids which do not get mixed with each other, means they remain separate and they forms two different layers. So the immiscible liquids can be easily separated by using a separating funnel. So what we do to separate the two immiscible liquids, we pour the mixture in the separating funnel. Now according to their densities, the two mixtures get separated and they forms the different layer. The liquid that is more denser or that is heavier, it forms the bottom layer, whereas that is lighter, it forms the upper layer. So if we are taking kerosene and water, so the water being heavier or denser, it will form the lower layer, whereas the kerosene being lighter in weight, it will form the upper layer. Now we will learn how can we separate a mixture of salt and ammonium chloride. So today we will learn how can we separate a mixture of salt and ammonium chloride. Now just like the previous mixtures, in this mixture also we have to find out the property on which we can separate these two mixtures, these two substances. So as we can see here, the salt and the ammonium chloride, they are having one property that is very much different. They both are solids, but the salt does not convert easily into the gaseous form, gaseous form, it needs a very high temperature even for the melting. So for converting into gaseous form, it requires a very high temperature. Now ammonium chloride, it is a substance that undergoes sublimation, or we can say it is a sublimable substance. It is a sublimable substance, whereas the salt is not a sublimable substance. So do you remember what is sublimation? What is sublimation? Sublimation means process in which a solid directly converts into a gas. Sublimation means when a solid directly converts into a gas. This is known as the sublimation. Now we can easily separate these two by the method of sublimation. So what we are going to do is, we will take this mixture on a china dish. We will take a china dish, then we will keep or we will pour the mixture over it, and then we will take a funnel. We will take a glass funnel, and along with the glass funnel we also need a cotton piece. We need a piece of cotton. So what we will do, after pouring the mixture in the china dish, we will keep the inverted glass funnel over it. Suppose this is the china dish, we will pour the mixture in it, then we will keep an inverted funnel over this mixture, and what we will do, we will place the cotton plug, or we will insert the cotton plug in the open end of this glass funnel. Here we will insert the cotton plug. We will insert cotton plug. Now why we will insert this cotton plug? We will insert it because when we are going to heat this mixture, so what will happen? We know that in the mixture ammonium chloride is present, and ammonium chloride will undergo sublimation. So when it will undergo sublimation, then it will convert into vapors. It will convert into vapors, and those vapors will start rising up. They will start rising up, and if we will not close this open end of the glass funnel, so those vapors will go into the atmosphere. But we want to collect those vapors, because when those vapors will be again cooled, then they will again convert into the solid ammonium chloride. So now what we will do, we will start heating it using either a Bunsen burner or a spirit lamp. So we will start heating it. First of all, we are going to place it over a tripod stand. We will place it over a tripod stand, and then we are going to heat it. So when it will be heated, the ammonium chloride will start converting into the vapors, whereas salt that does not undergo sublimation, it will remain in the china dish, whereas the ammonium chloride will convert into the vapors, and the vapors will rise up in the glass funnel. So when this cotton plug is closed, so the glass vapor, or so the vapors of ammonium chloride, they cannot escape into the atmosphere. So when they will come in contact with the walls of this glass funnel, as the walls will be cold compared to the china dish, so this ammonium chloride vapors will give their heat to the glass walls, and they will convert back into the solid ammonium chloride will again convert back into the solid ammonium chloride. So in this way we can easily separate a mixture of ammonium chloride and salt. Not only the ammonium chloride and salt can be separated by sublimation, but the other mixtures also in which one component undergoes sublimation and the other does not go under sublimation, they can be easily separated. So for separating a mixture by the sublimation, one component of mixture should be sublimable. It should be sublimable, means which can undergo the sublimation, and the other component of the mixture, it should not go under sublimation, means it should be non-sublimable. Should be non-sublimable. Now the next topic that we are going to learn is the dye in black ink a single color? Is the dye in black ink a single color? Actually, the dye that is present in the blue or the black ink, it is not a single color dye. It is a mixture of two or more colors of dye that is dissolved in water. We know that earlier also we have read the ink is made by the dye that is dissolved in the water. So we will learn how can we prove that the dye that is present in the blue or the black ink, it is not actually a single color dye. So first of all, for that we need a paper that is known as the chromatography paper, or if we don't have the chromatography paper, we can instead use a piece of the filter paper. We need a chromatography paper. If we don't have the chromatography paper, what we will use? We will use a strip of filter paper. Take a strip of the filter paper. Now what we are going to do is, we will draw a line 2 centimeters away from the bottom of the filter paper or the chromatography paper. Suppose this is the filter paper, then what we will do? From one hand, we will draw a line nearly 2 centimeters from the side. So from here, we will draw a line. Now what we will do? At the center of this line, we will make a spot from the black ink. We will make a spot at the center of this line from the black ink. Now we will allow this spot of the ink to dry for the sun time. So after taking the chromatography paper, what we did? We made a spot. Now the spot is of black ink or the blue ink, but this ink should be a water soluble ink. This ink should be a water soluble ink, means which is soluble in water. Now after that the spot is dry, what we will do? We will take a glass jar. We will take a glass jar and we will pour some water in this glass jar. We will pour some water in this jar. So suppose this is the glass jar, then we will pour some water in it. Then what we are going to do, then we will hang this filter paper or the chromatography paper using some clips, or we can roll it over a pencil, and then we will place the pencil on the edges of the beaker or the container. So here suppose we have kept a pencil, then we will hang this chromatography paper over this pencil. Now only the bottom part of this chromatography paper, it should touch the water. The chromatography paper should not remain dipped whole inside it. Only the edge of the paper should touch it. Now what will happen when the edge of the paper will touch the water? So slowly it will start absorbing the water. Now as the water will be absorbed by the filter paper or the chromatography paper, the water will start moving up. Now as the water will start moving up, what will happen? The ink that we have taken here, the water soluble ink, it will get dissolved in that water that will be moving up, and the water will carry the ink along with it. Now what will happen? Since the ink is not made up of single dye, it is a mixture of two or more dye. Two or more dye. Now we know that the different substances have different solubilities in the water. Means some are less soluble, some substances they are less soluble. They are less soluble, whereas the other substances they are more soluble. So what will happen? The substances that are more soluble, they will move at a fast speed. They move at a fast speed with the water, whereas that are less soluble, they will move at a slow speed. So in this way, the different colors that will be present in the black ink, they will get separated. So this method of separation, it is known as the chromatography, and the paper that will get at the last, that is known as the chromatogram. It is known as the chromatogram. Now this chromatography method is also used for forensic reports, like the forensic tests are there. So in that also this chromatography is used.
Now our next topic is how can we separate a mixture of two miscible liquids. So do you remember what are miscible liquids? Yes, miscible liquids are those liquids that gets mixed with each other completely. Means they gets mixed together if we will pour them in a single container, like milk and water. If you will pour milk in water or water in milk, they both will get mixed with each other properly. Similarly, alcohol and water, whatever proportion of alcohol or whatever proportion of water we will take, they will get mixed with each other properly. Similarly, in the case of acetone and water also, they both are also miscible liquids. Like if we take oil and water, they are immiscible liquids. They don't get mixed with each other properly. Okay, so in this topic, we will learn how can we separate the two immiscible liquids. So the two miscible liquids that we will take are acetone and water. Now, as we can see here, they both are liquids. So how can we separate them? So what we will do distillation of this mixture. In distillation, what we do, we heat the mixture. Okay, so when we will heat it, so the different components that are present in the mixture, they will boil at the different temperatures, means the components of the mixture have different boiling points. So on that basis they will be separated. So acetone and water, they both are also having different boiling points. So we can easily separate them by the method of distillation. So for that, what we need, first of all, we need a distillation flask. Then what we will do, we will pour the mixture of acetone and water in the distillation flask. Now we will fix a rubber cork on the mouth of the distillation flask. Now we will use a rubber cork that is having one hole in it. So why the rubber cork should have one hole in it? Because we are going to fix one thermometer in that hole so that we can measure the temperature of inside flask. So we will use a rubber cork, and from that hole we will insert a thermometer. Now we have to take a retort stand with the clamp. In the picture here, retort stand is shown, that is having one clamp attached to it. Now what we will do, we will fix the distillation flask that is having the mixture in it and thermometer fixed on it. We will fix it on the retort stand. Now we will take a water condenser. As we can see in the picture, the water condenser is shown. So the first one is the actual picture of the water condenser, and the below one is the internal diagram. As you can see that there is one straight pipe or straight tube inside the water condenser. So in that tube our main component will flow, whereas the sky blue colored portion, in that the water will flow. Now when this water will flow, so what will happen, it will absorb the heat from the component that will flow in the inside tube or the inside pipe. So as the water will absorb the heat from that component, so that component will get cooled. Suppose if the vapors are there, so what will happen, the water will absorb the heat from those vapors, and the temperature of the vapors will start decreasing. Okay, so when the temperature will decrease, the vapor will get condensed, or we can say that they will convert back into their liquid form. So basically water condenser is used to liquefy the vapors. When we have to cool the vapors and convert them back into their liquid stage, then we use the water condenser. Because here the name to this apparatus water condenser is given, because in this we are using the water to condense something. That's why the name is water condenser. Now we will fix the water condenser and the other apparatus as shown in the figure. Like, we have attached the distillation flask to the retort stand with the clamp. Then with the one end of the distillation flask we will attach the water condenser, and we will use a beaker so that in that we can collect the acetone that will come out. Now what we will do, we will now start heating this mixture with the help of either the spirit lamp or the Bunsen burner. Now when we will start heating it, so what will happen, initially the temperature of the mixture will start increasing. We can easily notice the temperature increase in the temperature with the help of thermometer. Now slowly the temperature will increase. Now the boiling point of acetone, it is 58 degrees Celsius, whereas the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Now, when the temperature will increase slowly, so at a time it will reach the temperature 58 degrees Celsius. Now, this is the boiling point of acetone. It means that now the acetone will start converting into the vapor form. Now we know that whenever any liquid converts into a vapors, so it needs some heat, that is known as the latent heat of vaporization. So the acetone will start absorbing the extra heat, or we can say the hidden heat, in the form of latent heat of vaporization. Now, when the acetone will start converting into vapors, so at that time, the increase in the temperature will stop for some time, because that heat, whatever we are giving to the mixture, that will be absorbed by the acetone in the form of latent heat, and it will convert into the vapors. So the acetone will convert into vapors and it will start rising up in the distillation flask. Now there is an open end in the distillation flask, so the vapors will start coming out of that open end, and they will pass through the water condenser. Now in the water condenser, in the outer part, the cold water will be passed. So that cold water will absorb the heat from the acetone vapors. Now when the water will absorb the heat from acetone vapors, so the acetone vapors will get cooled. Now when they will get cooled, so they will again convert into the liquid acetone, and that liquid acetone will be collected in the beaker that we have kept below the water condenser. Now when all the acetone will get evaporated, or we can say when all the acetone will convert into the vapors, so after that again the temperature will start increasing. Then we can see the change in the temperature after that. So after that we will stop heating the mixture, because already the acetone will be collected in the beaker, only the water will be left in the distillation flask. So in this way we can easily separate a mixture of two miscible liquids. Now but for separating a mixture of miscible liquids using the distillation flask, the minimum difference in their temperatures should be more than 25 Kelvin. Okay, only those miscible liquids can be separated using the simple distillation flask which are having the temperature difference between them more than 25 Kelvin. Now, if the temperature difference between the two miscible liquids is less than 25 Kelvin, then we can't use this simple distillation flask. Then we are going to use the fractionating column. Then what we will do, we will use a fractionating column with the distillation flask. For today, let's have a look at the topics that we have read today. So those topics are, first is, how can we separate a mixture of salt and ammonium chloride? So we read that we can easily separate a mixture of salt and ammonium chloride by using the method of sublimation. And this method of sublimation is used for separating a mixture when the one component of the mixture is sublimable, means which can undergo sublimation, and the another component is non-sublimable. The second topic that we read is the dye present in blue or black ink a single color? No, the dye that is present in the blue or the black ink, it is not a single color dye. It is actually a mixture of various colors. So we can separate the dye of the different color that is present in blue or black ink by using a chromatography paper or using a filter paper. So in the last, the paper that will get, it will have the different dyes separated, and that paper is known as the chromatogram. Now the next topic was how can we separate a mixture of two miscible liquids. So the two miscible liquids can be separated by using the distillation. So in this method what we do, we pour the mixture of two miscible liquids into the distillation flask and then we heat them. So on the basis of the difference of temperature in their boiling points, the two miscible liquids present in the mixture gets separated. The miscible liquid which is having lower boiling point, it will convert first into the vapors. So we will collect it first, and the second liquid which will have higher boiling point, it will remain in the distillation flask. So in this way we can separate the two miscible liquids. So that's it, students. We will continue our chapter in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Take care.